Hello, another day, another post on YouTube. Thank you so much for all the people who've been watching the videos. That's 3, 4, 5 people now. Thank you to those 5 viewers. I really appreciate you. Today, I'm going to tell you a story. In 2019, in 2014, I landed in Japan, in Osaka to be precise. I was barely 20. I was innocent, I was immature, but there's one thing that I wasn't. I was not an alcoholic. At the age of 19, I had barely touched alcohol. I had drunk here and there, of course, but barely enough to register. I had never gotten drunk before. I had never gone out with the sole purpose of drinking with my friends. Never done any of that, despite being in the third year of my university career. So in 2014, I come to Japan for what was to be my last year of school. Japan can be a very lonely place, especially if you do not speak the language, which at the time I did not speak. I spent the first 3 months tucked away in my dormitory and going to class. Dorm room, class, for 3 straight months. And at one point I remember regretting ever wanting to come to Japan. That was until March of the same year. In March, the school I was in gave us what was the equivalent of a spring break. All the foreign students, only the foreign students, got a spring break. And so me and one other Kenyan lady decided to go to Tokyo. My first time visiting what was, I believe still is maybe, the largest city in the world. In Tokyo, our purpose was singular. We are going to have fun. The girl was a bit older than me. I should actually say the woman. She was slightly older than me. She was experienced. She had been in Japan for a few months longer than I had. She had even been to Tokyo before. So when we went to Tokyo, I followed her lead. And we wound up in a bar, in a British pub in the heart of Tokyo City. And I remember looking down the line. There was a long queue to the bar, and as we were walking along this queue, I kept thinking, what will I have? I didn't want beer. I'd tasted beer before. It wasn't for me. I knew wine. Wine was good, but I didn't want to spend money for a tiny glass of wine. So it was my turn to make the order. I went down the list and settled on the fanciest name I could find, and that was Long Island iced tea. Now, I wish someone told me that of all the drinks to have, Long Island iced tea was the worst one for someone who had a propensity towards alcoholism. Of course, at the time, I didn't quite suspect this. So I drank, my tall boy Long Island iced tea. And for the first time in my life, I'm drunk, I'm tipsy, I feel good about myself. And all of a sudden, all the curtains behind which the real Oscar was hiding were blown away. And I emerged and I was vivacious, I was talkative, I was loquacious, I was charming, I was charismatic. Everything I had always wished to be. The Long Island iced tea, I believed, gave me that. Flash forward to 3, 4, 5 years later, and I am a full-blown alcoholic. I can't go a day without drinking. I'm puking in my home regularly. I'm spending money I don't have to buy drinks I don't need. Anyone I consider a friend is actually just a drinking buddy. And time again, I make a promise to my wife, to my friends, to myself, that this will be the last drink. And there were times when I succeeded. Maybe I go a few days, a week, 2 weeks, even a month without drinking. But at some point, for whatever reason that was unbeknownst to me back then, I would start drinking. It was as simple as walking past a 7-Eleven, or walking past that vending machine with the beers, or getting a call from an old friend, and I'm right back where I started. So what is the theme of today's discussion? A pack of wolves, a pride of lions, a herd of sheep, a parade of elephants, an army of frogs, a troop of gorillas, a mob of kangaroos, a tribe. A tribe. Man needs a tribe. The reason why I could not go more than a month without drinking is because I did not have my tribe. And what is this tribe that keeps me sober today? My tribe, dear listener, dear viewer, is Alcoholics Anonymous. Now get this. Once a week, it should be more ideal, but in my case it's once a week, I go to a room and I sit down with other men and other women and I listen to them speak about their experience, strength, and hope. And I speak about my experience, strength, and hope. And these men, they keep me accountable. And I keep them accountable. And when failure knocks on our doors, I call on this man. And this man stand with me. And together we hold the door. Loneliness has become a pandemic, or so I hear. And the funny thing is, even with people around, it's very easy to feel lonely, especially as men. Because for most part, we don't want to express too much of ourselves. We want to keep some distance between what is going on within us and what we reveal to the world. And that is good to a degree. You don't want to be an emotional wreck, especially when you have people depending on you. But even the stoic, laconic man needs a place through which he can express some of that pain, some of that discomfort, some of that loneliness. And for me and my tribe, that place is the AA rooms. Dear listener, dear viewer, I encourage you to find your tribe. And you might say, no, you are a lone wolf. And I say, dear listener, there is no such thing. You know, actually they do exist until they die. Until they're feasted upon by another pack. Until they realize that alone they can never quite capture a meal. But together, the pack becomes unstoppable. With my tribe, I am unstoppable. With my tribe, I know I can go another day without a drink. For so long as I have my tribe, I am never alone. Now, I'm going to say your tribe need not be your family. Your tribe do not even be your friend group. But you need people with whom you share common pain, a common goal, a common mission, a common northern light. People who understand the path you're trying to walk on, people who have been there before you. You need to find these people, because through them, through these people, will you be able to rise to a higher level of existence. Do not be alone. Your pain should not be processed alone. There are people who want to help you. There are people whose main purpose is to help you. Make that call, send that message. Find your tribe. And with that, dear listener, I want to say thank you for your time. And I'll see you back here tomorrow.